Hey guys, Kurt from Time Machine Transport. Show me the lights, Daddy. Show me the lights. I'm over here and just waiting for it to get a little lighter out. So I'm at this pilot in Ontario, Oregon, delivering this oversize today at 10 a.m. So anyways, so I got here yesterday afternoon, but I didn't have my travel permit or my weight distance permit and or my oversize. So I figured I'd call when I got to the border. So anyways, Oregon got some shady motherfuckers, man. I mean, just the amount of shadiness going on here. I mean, like yesterday there was this it was like a fucking generational, I don't know, misfit group or something, man. It was like a family of like freaking 40 around here walking dogs, and I felt bad. I felt more bad for the dogs, or I felt worse for the dogs than I did the people. I mean, you could just, and I shouldn't assume and I shouldn't judge, right? I mean, that's for God, not for assumption, but to judge. And but yeah, just you could just see, man, I'm looking at every single, I mean, it just, you could tell they were up to no good, you know what I'm saying? Like, just a generational group of misfits, man. They were from little kids, like little kids, all the way up to like one elderly dude. It was odd. Anyways, so I was emptying my pee bottles this morning. I know, TMI, right? If you guys are in a truck, you guys should, reuse your bottles. But that's not for me to decide what you do with your pee-pee. Anyways, I started thinking about this time I kicked her out. Well, I didn't kick her out. I left her. My son asked me, he's like, "Hey Dad, I got this friend that," because I trained my brother and my cousin to get their CDL when I drove for this Russian, and that was pretty cool that he let me, train them while I was in his truck. So anyways, when I was with the Russian, my son calls me and says, "Hey Dad, I got this friend, her name's Megan, and she's really like hit rock bottom in her life, and I was wondering if maybe, you could kind of train her in a truck, I think she'd be really good at it." And I was like, that just kind of blew my mind. Like, this person has really hit rock bottom, so let him be a truck driver. Right? I mean, that's kind of how this industry is, I mean, not all of it, obviously. But I mean, I went to trucking because a buddy told me, "Dude, you should go to trucking." It was like my last plan. I mean, I didn't want to drive. I never wanted to drive a truck. Never even thought about driving a truck. And I love it. But you got to be cut from a different cloth to be a trucker, male or female, or trans, or whatever. Anyways, so I was like, "Oh, thanks for thinking of me when your friend hits rock bottom." And so anyways, so I'm like, "All right, yeah, sure." So I give her a call. She's living up in Madison, Wisconsin. She's squatting in a house, and this is what actually made me think of this. My brother Stevie K, what's up, brother? Love you. Jason Gilbert, Pastor Rick, Bob Crum, Joaquin, Mike O'Hara, my baby girl. I love all you guys. Anyways, if I know I missed a bunch of people, so I apologize. Anyways, I started thinking, I'm like, because I was thinking about the generational family of shadies. I was like, this a trucking job would be ideal for somebody like that, or a squatter or whatever. And I was like, my brother Stevie says I tell the best stories. So anyways, this is to you. This is for you, brother. So I don't know if a lot of people know this one. I got some pretty wild stories, or truths, as I like to call them. So anyways, I call this girl Megan. She's squatting at some place up in Madison. She's like a waitress or something. I'm like, "Yeah, that's exactly what you want, as a person that's a squatter." And then, I assumed, but then after I was able to confirm, then I was like, "Oh, that's gross." So anyways, I call her, get a feel for her, And I'm leaving in like 2 days for the Russian. I had been home for a few days, and I was leaving in a couple days. It was right before Halloween. This must have been like 2013 or 14, I think. And so anyways, I asked her, I'm like, hey, you know what, I mean, you don't know what this job entails. I said, but do me a favor and send me a picture of your hands and your fingers. And she's like, excuse me? I'm like, I need to know, because if you're like a high maintenance chick and you get your nails done or whatever, which my wife gets her nails done, and her, you know, I love nice nails. I'm glad my wife gets that done, you know. So, but I wanted to make sure, because if you're into long nails or whatever, you're probably are not going to be a good flatbedder if you're going to be concerned about, you know, I'm not doing that. I'll bang up my nails. So she sent me a picture of her nails, like within a minute or two, and I was like, oh yeah, this chick would be a good flatbedder. And she had fucking hands like a mechanic. And so anyways, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going out on this trip, and then when I get back, I'll go ahead and I'll get in contact with you, and then I'll let you know when we can get on the road. So I remember the Packers were playing, I think the Bears, on a Halloween night. I'm at my boy Dennis's house, Delta. My brother Mikey's there, a bunch of other people, and we're getting. I mean, we're not juiced up, but we're not feeling any pain. And I'm leaving the next day on that Friday, and I'm picking up an oversize going down to Vegas. And so anyways, so I get this call, and it's Megan, and she's like, hey Kurt, my truck broke down over here in like White something Bay and outside of Milwaukee. I'm like, what? She said, yeah, I was coming down here so I could, you know, get in the truck with you. I'm like, what? That wasn't a good first impression. So she said her truck's broke down. So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, well, I can't leave her stranded. I mean, if she wasn't my son's friend, then I would have been like, lady, there's nothing I can do for you. But I didn't want any flack to be on my son, right? So, or him thinking, hey dad, I know she's hit rock bottom, but you left her in the middle, you know, you left her somewhere. I didn't leave her. So, well, I ended up did. But anyway, I ended up doing that such thing, or that exact thing. And so anyways, I'm like, fuck. So I tell my buddy's like, who's that? And I tell him, he goes, hey, we'll go with you. So my brother and my boy Delta and I jump in my truck, and we go down to Whitefish Bay outside of Milwaukee, and we pick her up. And she's got like this raggedy ass Bronco. I mean, all kinds of shit in there. You could tell, I mean, I don't know if she was a hoarder or that was just all of her possessions in the world. And she's got a dog. And I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, well, you didn't tell me you had a dog. And I love dogs. I love animals. I love people. So might as well sit back in the pilot chair and get comfy. So bed's all made. Everything's good. Show me the lights, Dad. There they are. You see them? Back to the story. So I'm like, oh fuck. So anyways, so I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to put this chick up in a hotel. She's not staying with me. She's not gonna stay with my boy, you know. So she's like, well, before we go to the hotel, can we stop and get a drink? I'm just really, really stressed out over this whole thing. Now, this was Halloween night, and she had makeup on. Like, she wasn't in a costume, but she had her face painted up for Halloween. And so my buddy's like, yeah. My brother's like, yeah, let's go for a drink. So we go to this place in Dallas, West Dallas. If you don't know what Dallas is, you should. A lot of people around the country know Dirty Dallas. It's a I wouldn't say it's a suburb, but essentially it is a suburb of Milwaukee, West Dallas. And so we take her to a Dallas bar, and we had a couple drinks, and she's getting emotional and all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God. So anyways, so we get in the truck, drop my boy and my brother off, and I take her to a hotel. And I got to find a pet-friendly hotel now. And, I mean, and this chick, I mean, she's tall. She's not, like, overweight or anything. She's just, you could just tell, like, something about her, you know. So anyway, so now I got to find a pet-friendly hotel. And I said, listen, I'm going to put you up here for the night. And it's probably, like, maybe 11-ish at night, possibly, maybe a little later. And I got to go pick up this oversize. So I said, I'll be here around probably 6:30, 7 o'clock by the very latest tomorrow morning. So do me a favor, because I could see she was kind of dirty and her dog was kind of dirty. Not judging, just making an observation. And I said, so in the truck, we really, we don't really shower often. We shower, and it was cooler out. So I'm like, probably every third day by the most we'll shower or whatever. And I said, so just letting you know that, take a shower, maybe give your dog a bath. I said, I had no idea you were bringing the dog. So she's like, okay. So I get there. I figure I'd let her sleep in. So I got there at like 7. And I call her. No answer. Call her. I'm just nonstop calling her, texting her. Hey, I'm out here. I'm thinking, oh, maybe this chick left, thank God. Nope, couldn't be so lucky. I just woke up. Sorry. And I'm like, come on, man, this is your second first impression. So I wait for an hour. She comes out, didn't shower. Dog's not washed. Dog didn't shower either. And she's literally got still remnants of makeup on her face from the Halloween thing. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. So I bring her ass to the yard, load up, and she's like, what about my truck? I'm like, well, I can't worry about your truck. So I had this mechanic, forget his name. Anyways, I call him, say, hey, listen, can you take your tow truck, go get her truck, bring it over to your shop, get it fixed, and then I'll pay for the bill, and then whatever. He's like, yeah, Kurt. So, problem solved. So we end up going to get the oversize. Everything was cool. We ended up shut down somewhere. Forget the trip exactly, but whatever. And so now this truck, though, only had one bunk. So this must have been like 2014, because he had just bought 2015 trucks, and it was a brand new Freightliner Cascadia with a single bunk. It was a mid-roof, 13 speed. And I'm like, and I had already had my cousin Dan. I think he watches my channel. What's up, bro? He was, watch my time here. We had come up with an idea. Well, I came up with an idea. I got these, I know it sounds kind of hokey, but it actually was pretty comfy. Because my cousin's a smaller guy. My fat ass probably wouldn't have been able to sleep in it. But what I did was I put the truck in gear, shut the truck off, so the shifter obviously is up further, right? And I grabbed some 1x pallet boards, broke them off the pallet, and then I had like 4 or 5 of them across the driver's seat to the passenger seat. And then I had a cot mattress like this thick for the mattress, and then I gave him a sleeping bag and some pillows. And he literally, because he would just draw the curtains, and he would just, and then in the morning, we'd go ahead and put everything. I'd put the boards underneath my back mattress, not in this truck, but I put the boards underneath my mattress, and the cot mattress, I would just roll it up, put a bungee around it, and put it right on my bunk. So it all worked out really good. So I already had a plan. I'm like, well, that's the way that this chick can sleep now. So anyways, and then that's kind of how we broke it down. Then Danny, my cousin, would get ready in the morning, like get dressed or whatever, do his whatever, and then he would just sit in one of the seats, and then I would get up and I would get ready. So that's kind of how I had it planned. Anyways, so this chick is kind of emotional still. We shut down for the day because, we're in an oversized. And she's like, I really like to skateboard and this and that. And I'm like, well, because she had her skateboard. And so I'm like, well, I don't know how safe it would be out here, but you can go ahead and skateboard if you want. And she ended up taking her board, whatever. And her dog's name was Crowley. Or Crowley, Mr. And I called him Mr. Crowley, and she was irritated when I called. Why do you call him Mr. Crowley or Mr.? And I think it's from that like demonic guy or whatever, the devil worshiper, Crowley. I think that's. I thought about it years. I'm like, I bet you that's why she named him Crowley, because it was Crowley. Anyways, he's a real evil person, I guess. So, anyways, so now this goes on for a few weeks, and I'm like, man, I gotta get this chick out of the truck, man. She's just not working out. She's lazy. She doesn't want to get up. She really doesn't want to work. You can tell she's got like this, and don't get me wrong when I said, but like this liberal attitude, like everybody owes her something, right? And the United States of America is bad, and this and that. So, and here's another thing. She didn't brush her teeth. She said that they're poisoning us with fluoride, so that's why she doesn't brush her teeth. And I was like, well, just use a toothbrush then, without the fluoride poisoning. No, she didn't brush them, period. And she took one shower the first trip we were out. Yeah, it was 2 trips. I'm an idiot. So, anyways, so then what happens? We go through the whole thing, and then we end up getting a load out of Wyoming to Chicago. And then I'm going home for a few days, so now I got to put her up in a hotel again. So we're sitting at the shipper in Wyoming. The load's got to be tarped. And I had bought some United States flags and Iraqi war veteran small stickers for my side mirrors, and or my side window. Sorry, because it had like the wing window like that, but it didn't open. So I put them right on the wing. So I'm on my side, clean the window while we're waiting. It's like a couple hour wait. So I'm cleaning that or whatever, and I put my side on, and then I give her the rag and I give her the decals, and I'm like, well, you might want to. Can you do that side? And while we're just waiting here, she goes, I don't feel very comfortable with that. I'm like, excuse me? She's like, I'm not really comfortable with that. This country is not what it used to be. I'm like, and this chick is like 20 nothing, right? And I'm like, what the fuck do you know about what this country used to be? I said, you're taking all this gibberish nonsense, gerbil, whatever, gerbil. And you're just regurgitating it because you have no idea what the hell's going on. My bag, I slept very well last night, but I got some bags this morning. You got some bags underneath your eyes, huh? And so I'm like, what the fuck is with this chick? I'm like, so I was like, you know what, Megan? I said, I've been wanting to say this for a minute, so I go off on her, and I'm like, you know what? Don't even worry about getting out of the truck. And I said, I'm taking you back home. You are not going to be getting back in my truck. And I said, this is not a job for you. So she's crying. Now, she didn't get out of the truck to help me. I tarped the load, get in, I'm fuming. And so we said 2 words going all the way from Wyoming to Chicago. It was very uncomfortable. Anyways, so I'm thinking, okay, great, now I don't have to get her a hotel, all this stuff, and this, and that. Now I'm driving for somebody. So she starts crying. Kurt, I'm so sorry, and I know you're a vet, and all this stuff, and I'm sorry I offended you. And so she fucking talks me back so I put her in a hotel for the weekend, because I'm leaving that Monday or Tuesday, whatever. And so I put her and her dog up in a fucking, and here was another thing. So I told her, I said, I had no idea you were bringing a dog. I said, so you got to vacuum the truck, because I keep a very clean truck. You got to vacuum the truck every other day. I said, here's a small vacuum. Yeah, I'll do it. Didn't fucking vacuum once. I think maybe once. I give her the credit, maybe once. And then I vacuumed the rest of the time. Because I really like the dog, but I couldn't stand her. So anyways, weekend passes. We jump back in the truck. We head back out. And, this is another thing. She had a little girl, her daughter. And her parents are retired school teachers. And they have custody, or they take care of her daughter because she's not able to take care of herself. How do you take care of a child and a dog? So she shows me a picture on her phone of her daughter one time, and she's like, oh yeah, it's my little baby, blah blah. I'm like, oh, because I was talking about my son and this and that, and how did they meet? How does she know Ace or Vinny? Blah blah blah. So that was it. One hour conversation about her child. That was it. Didn't call her parents. I mean, I can't talk. I don't really like to call. Like, my wife is so patient. I mean, I'm so fortunate to have such a great, understanding, cool ass wife that doesn't sweat me for not calling her. I mean, we try to talk daily at night before we go to bed, but sometimes I'm just like, man, I'm just tired, So I understand that. I'm not a big talker, but she doesn't text her parents. She doesn't call her. Now, when Vinny was little, I mean, I wanted to be with him all the time. But I told her, I said, it's not my business. But I'm like, don't you want to call your child? She didn't call the child once in the truck. She didn't call her parents once in the truck. So that was it. But I don't know how many times she texted them or whatever, but never called to say goodnight to her girl or whatever. And her daughter was absolutely adorable. I think she was like maybe 4 or 5-ish, maybe. And so anyways, so that was it. Never mentioned again. So we ended up picking up a container from California going to Kansas. Kansas City, Kansas. And she has family there. And so I got to back up. So before I put her back up in a hotel for the weekend, when I had that load from Wyoming going to Chicago, we stopped in Wells, Nevada to do a restart. It was like a Saturday evening-ish. And I said, hey, tomorrow morning, I know they got a bar here. I'm going to go ahead and, like a small casino at the truck stop at the petrol there. And I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and wake up early, catch a Sure, shave, all that stuff. I said, I'm going to catch breakfast or lunch in the restaurant, and then I'm going to the bar to watch the football games. And she's like, oh, okay. I said, so you want to join me? It's working. Yes, sir. So anyways, so you have a CB, guys. So then I gotta make this story. I gotta finish the story, but it's funny. So I said, you're welcome to join me when you wake up. So she's like, okay. So she calls me at like 1 o'clock or whatever. Where you at? Blah blah. And I said, I'm over here. Tell her, and I had told her, I said, this is my code to take a shower because I had a bunch of shower credits. Now this chick hadn't showered but one time, and this was like 3 weeks now. And I'm like, what the fuck? So, doesn't brush her teeth, doesn't bathe, whatever. And so I'm like, so she comes, sits down at the bar, she orders a drink. I'm like, oh, did you already take your shower bag back? She goes, oh no, I didn't shower. I'm like, oh fuck. So anyway, so we're sitting there watching the games. Guys are hitting on her, other truck drivers. I mean, she was cute, whatever. But just nasty. Just a nasty person. And so anyway, so I'm like, it's getting like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. And I'm kind of, I'm not drunk because obviously I got to leave out early. So we were leaving at like 5 in the morning from Wells when my fresh 70 started. So anyways, I get back to the truck. I'm like, I'm going to bed. You got the other key for the truck. Come in whenever you want. So I get in, I open the truck, and the truck is fucking trashed. Like somebody broke in this motherfucker and was looking for something. And I'm like, what the? So I look down and I see a remnant of a tampon. A bloody tampon. It was like in a crevice or something. I'm like, what the fuck? So I call her. I'm like, Megan, it's that time of month. What did you? I mean, well, I put my tampon in the truck garbage. I'm like, and your dog got into the truck garbage and went fucking berserk. Once you got a taste of that fucking punani, you're gonna fucking sit there, and now my truck is destroyed. I am livid. So I go ahead and clean it up, take him for a walk, and I'm fucking pissed. So she gets in at like 2 a.m. I hear her, getting her bed ready or whatever. Well, we're leaving at 5. And actually we're going east on I-80. So coming out of Wells, Nevada, I'm heavy, I'm maxed out, so I'm climbing gears. And I'm looking in the westerly lane, and I'm like, what is so odd about that truck? And I'm looking, and I'm like, oh shit, the headlights were not like this, they were like this. I'm like, oh shit, this dude rolled this truck. So I pull the truck over, grab my flashlight, tell her, hey Megan, I'm gonna need your help, you gotta get up. I said, call 911. So she's on the phone with 911. I jump over the median, the concrete median, and the tires were still rotating, I swear to God. And I'm like, so I'm telling her, you all right? So long story short, the guy was all right. I went up top, I busted the window, got him out, blah, blah. And the cops and the state troopers, it took them like 40 minutes to get there or whatever. And it was right on the bend. So if you're going west, and right before you get to the Petro and Wells, there's like a curve. He had hit that curve going pretty fast, I guess, or whatever. But I remember taking pictures of the whole scene. And I remember taking a picture of he was a foreigner, and he was wearing one sneaker and one dress shoe because he couldn't find his shoes, so he just put on whatever he had. It was crazy, and he had a blanket on. Anyway, so back to all right. So that already, and then on top of her with the flags, I wanted this bitch gone, out, adios, vamonos, way, and just go right. So anyways. Then she sweet talks me into getting back in the truck, blah, blah. So now we picked up a container. We're heading to Kansas City, Kansas. And she has family there. Well, I can't unload because it's too late on Friday. We're getting in. So I'm going to stay the weekend in Kansas City. And she's on the phone. Now she's on the phone, talking to her aunt, her uncle. So I think she said she had an ex-boyfriend in Kansas. He was also there. And she's like, is it okay if you watch Mr. Crowley? Or now she calls him Mr. Crowley. She hated is it okay that you watch Mr. Crowley when that way I could spend time with my family for the weekend? I'm like, absolutely, hell yeah. And I get the truck to myself with this crazy bitch. Now, I really liked her dog. I really did. So we pull in the truck stop. I think we're at like the Pilot or Flying J, and park the rig, and her ex-boyfriend or whatever came to pick her up. I gotta go back. Now I'm starting to worry about my time. I gotta get going. I gotta stop for fuel down the way too. I don't feel at the Pilots or the whatever. I fill up at the Petros and TAs because of our fuel discount. Anyways, so I got to back up. So on our way to the truck stop, we're almost there. We're like a half hour out from the truck stop. And she's texting. She's all happy because she's getting out of the truck and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she looks over at me and she's like, you know what, Kurt? She said, do you realize how easy my job would be if I didn't have a kid? Or, not job. Do you realize how easy my life would be if I didn't have a kid? That blew my mind. Absolutely blew my fucking mind. I was like, and this is a rhetorical question, I'm like, what did you just say? And she repeated it like I didn't hear it. And I'm like, Megan, you are an absolutely horrible fucking person. Horrible fucking person. You're you're an evil person. So now I'm steaming, man. I am fucking fuming. So then we part. Ex-boyfriend comes to get her. I sleep with a CPAP machine, and I'm in a dead sleep. Me and Mr. Crowley are fucking cuddling, and all of a sudden it's like almost like a shotgun went off in my mind. I'm like, what the fuck? And in the newer trucks, like when you close the door, the light dims real slowly. Well, the whole cab of the truck was dim. I'm like, did somebody try to get in my fucking truck or got in my truck? So I jump up and I look out the window and she's walking away from the truck. This bitch forgot something in the truck and was so rude and so disrespectful. She didn't just close the door, she slammed that motherfucker. I am pissed. Now the plan was to stay at the truck stop Friday night into Saturday, and then Sunday morning I was gonna go and check into a hotel, get a bottle of booze, watch the football games, me and Crowley chilling. I'm getting this dude a bath, all this stuff. So now I'm let's fast forward. I don't hear from her, which is good. Get to the hotel, I start drinking, and I'm telling myself we're because of my alter ego, we're going to leave this bitch here. Now I can't feel, I don't feel guilty, because now this chick is really, she's a horrible person in my mind. Not that she was a great person before this, but I'm like, you know what, Ed, I'm taking this bitch's dog. So I'm drinking, so I text her. I'm like, hey, listen, you're going to stay here in Kansas. She goes, no, I'm leaving Monday. I said, oh, no, you're not. I said, you're staying in Kansas. You don't have any other place around the country to go because you're squatting everywhere you go. So here, your family's here. I advise you stay here. And I said, I'm leaving, and I'm going to take your dog. Swear to God. She is fucking bawling. Please don't take him. He's the only thing that matters to me. And I'm like, and that confirmed everything. You have a child, and Mr. Clyde, our puppy, he's I mean, when he's got to go to heaven or whatever, that's going to be a hard moment, because he's like my son, or like our son. So I get it, but I also say our kids are our life as well. But yet you say that Mr. Crowley is your world. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? You have a child. Like, what the fuck? So anyway, so I'm you ain't getting your dog. You ain't getting your dog. So she's fucking bawling. She's cursing me out. You piece of shit. You're going to take my dog. So anyways, the next day, because I went out and I grabbed all of her stuff, because I don't even want to see her at this point. So I grabbed all of her stuff out of the truck and I put it in my room. Got a pet-friendly room, of course. And so now my conscience is kind of playing on me, and I'm like, man, maybe this dog is her last fucking lifeline, So I text her. I'm like, I'm not going to take your dog. And so I said, I'm going to tell you what hotel I'm at and what room. I'm going to tell the front desk that you're able to go into my room and get your things and get your dog. And so I did. I texted her, said I'm staying whatever hotel it was. I went to the front desk. I told them exactly. I said, hey, I got this trainee that I'm going to kick out of my truck. And I started telling her all the stuff about not bathing, not brushing her teeth, being this liberal piece of shit. And not like liberals are piece of shit. I have family that are liberals, and they're the most amazing, loving people in the entire world. But this monster was a POS. So anyways, I left her things there. I jumped in the truck, and it was such a relief. I was so relieved, so absolutely relieved that I had a rash on my neck. It was like I was reborn, man. I was just like, oh my goodness, this is absolutely amazing. And I don't know if she's still there to this day, but I ended up, so my mechanic, he had fixed her Bronco, and then I paid the bill. Wasn't much, $500-600, and not like that's not a lot of money, but it was way less than I thought. And she came and got it eventually, I guess. And then one day I took my car there, and he was going to do something on it, and then he's like, "Hey, Kurt," he said, that Bronco I fixed, he said, this banjo was in it. He said, it looks like an expensive banjo, but I didn't want anybody breaking into that truck just for the banjo, so I grabbed it and I put it in my office and then waited, and then she just came and picked up her truck without letting me know, so I didn't give her the banjo. So I ended up getting the banjo out of the deal. My wife had it retuned, and when I was in the inpatient program, I took up guitars for vets or whatever. I really need to get into it, but the guy told me about my banjo it's got to be whatever. Something's got to be fixed. Anyway, so that was the first story. I got some other stories of trainees that I've kicked out of the truck. But anyways, that's for my brother Stevie K. Love you. And anyways, I hope this video finds you well. Please like and subscribe to the channel.